So ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to Digii100 Summit 25. And I have the proud privilege in inviting on stage Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe. He is Chairman, NETF, NBA and EC and NAAC. And let's put our hands together to welcome him for the inaugural address.
Sabhi ko namaskar. Very good morning to all of you. We had excellent 4 speakers who spoke on various issues, starting with the organization of this Digi100 edition itself by Sahel, who has been a good friend for quite some time, young, dynamic, and creating this ecosystem of bringing people together is very important activity. Madan Padki, CEO, head of Held High Foundation, who brilliantly explained about how our rural India has to be taken care of, the story of Shanta, and many Shantas to come across in this country, and empowering all of them. We have Tariq Ali just now, who spoke about the story of foreign higher education institution coming to India, the kind of work that they are doing back home, and what they want to bring value in India for higher education. We have from Advani Foundation, Dr. Shirshendu Mukherjee, who spoke about vaccine story, as well as how innovation and therefore innovation, which activity AICTE has started, that they are supporting. I think some of these things may be slightly repetitive, but nevertheless, I would like to briefly talk about some past, the present, and what we are looking at future, especially Viksit Bharat 2047. From ancient times, India is known for education, because quite often we forget about some of these things. Hemant rightly pointed out few of these things, that what India has been through some Sanskrit shloka here and there. But we must be aware that the early Gurukula system, the first type of education system, came from India. We had the most ancient universities of the world, Takshila, then Nalanda, and many others, 17 others also were from here, and students from all over the world used to come to India for studies. That is the past. Even in the present circumstances, during independence struggle or even later, there have been various things which have been achieved despite all odds that the India was facing. For example, the White Revolution, the Green Revolution, the IT Revolution. India is known for IT superpower, has been all from 50s to 80s to 90s. And in the present circumstances in 2020, when we had this National Education Policy 2020, which is giving a roadmap for future development, and that's the starting point. And that's how part of that UGC started regulation for foreign higher education institutions, and Liverpool is here, and then there are 16 others who have been given letter of intent. Southampton is already here in NCR region, which is functioning from this year, and about remaining 15 will start functioning either this current year or maybe subsequent year, and many more at the pipeline. So this is what is happening. But as far as the National Education Policy, जो राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति के बारे में बोलते हैं, there are a couple of things which are very, very important. One is how we can impart multidisciplinary, holistic education rooted in Indian values is one important part. How we promote innovation and research is another part. And therefore, how do we train our teachers so that they will carry forward this message of NEP into their respective colleges and universities? I think these are 3 very important segments in which government has been constantly working in the last 5 years. And therefore, there were several regulations, reforms which have been brought in. And the greatest reform is going to come in the parliament maybe a couple of days down the line, maybe Monday. That is Higher Education Commission of India. Most of the institutions were here, people from industry. I'm seeing FICCI, CI and NASCOM people. We have also vice chancellors of different universities, chairman of various universities. All of them have been worried about 2 things. One is there is a huge regulatory framework by multiple agencies trying to choke them from being innovative. Maybe there is AICTE for technical education. For general education, we have UGC. For pharmacy, there is Pharmacy Council of India, Council of Architecture for Architecture program, ICAR for Agriculture program, Veterinary Council for Veterinary, and many others. And universities who are dealing with all of these have to go to multiple agencies every year to get the approval, continuation, addition of seats, and it's a nightmare for all of them to submit this data and get validated through those agencies. So this Higher Education Commission of India with 3 major verticals will solve many of the problems which are currently being faced by the universities. A single regulatory authority, naturally you will have to make only a single application for running any one of those programs which I mentioned. Of course, law and medicine have been kept aside. I hope they should have been also part of this, but nevertheless, at least all others have been included into the Higher Education Commission of India regulation. The second one vertical is that of the accreditation. We have NBA and NAAC. How we can make the process much more simpler, much more easier, and really check the quality of institutions that they are imparting education is the second part. And the third vertical is that of what we call as standard setting. Because when you come to different domains, the faculty-student ratio required, the land required, the building required, the infrastructure required, the number of labs required, they are all vary from agency to agency, and people find difficulty. If you satisfy one, the second one is not satisfied. And that is a burden which was there on the educational institution. I hope this particular bill will take care of most of these issues. Although many people have some input about how it will function, I hope when so much of thinking has gone from 2020 when it was mentioned to 2025 when it is going to come, naturally 5 years of a lot of exercise, deliberation, functioning has been thought about, and therefore it will be a smooth sailing. I assure you that that is going to happen. As far as the multidisciplinary education is concerned, many universities who had only limited programs were not able to take care of the choice of the student. You know, one of the most important part in the national education policy is how we empower students. It's a student-centric policy, and therefore, if a student is joining in engineering, wants to do some course in music or in drama or painting, there is no scope right now, and therefore, through this multidisciplinary education, one is how do we join the dots and then take forward innovation, innovative ideas from what mentioned by Shushrendu as TRL 4 he was mentioning, but the ideas are many times TRL 1-2 itself. How do we take them forward? You know, we have a portal called Yukti where students, all of their ideas are placed, maybe at TRL level 2-3. How do we take them forward to 4, 5, 6, 7? And we all know those who are in the ecosystem of entrepreneurship and startup ecosystem, there are valleys of death. And we need to provide those bridges which will make the students cross over all of them and then move ahead and then come to TRL 7, 8 and then mature and transfer technologies, create their startups. Few of these signs are visible, and we all talk about always our institutions of excellence, or what we call institutions of national importance, like IITs, IIC, NITs, IIMs. But there is a big chunk of large number of institutions in our hinterland, in rural settings, who have been contributing immensely towards the wealth of the country. And that is visible from about merely 400 startups which were registered in the year 2015-16. Today we have more than 1,75,000 and surviving, continuing to provide employment to many people. So I think that is the lesson which we have to learn. As far as this whole exercise of today is about digital excellence, how do we bring universities to the level of the most advanced countries of the world. One example was the COVID, which gave us lessons of digital India's power in terms of continuing education despite all odds, because of the connectivity that was already established in Digital India Mission. But we have not reached all the villages, you know, all rural areas. Maybe 70% coverage of you have digital India penetrating, and then maybe other 20-30% has to be catered to. And that is when we will be able to make education accessible to nooks and corners of the country. The second part is, as I said, high quality education cannot be provided in all the institutions because of the lack and shortage of faculty that is there in most of the institutions. And therefore, a platform which was created, which was called Swayam, a massive online open course portal, which has more than about 4,000, 5,000 courses. I'm sure institutions where those expertise are not available, some of the elective courses which students want to take but not able to take can be provided through this portal, including giving of examination and grading. This is also a very important part. The second part is that of how do we transfer these credits, and this was a big challenge and still a challenge to be faced, and also authentication of their degrees and the courses that are done by the students. So the new initiative which started 3 years ago called giving of a unique ID to all students, called APAR, Automated Permanent Academic Account Registry, enables universities to push their performance in terms of semester courses, the course names, the grades, everything onto this portal, whether taken from Swayam or the new version which is Swayam Plus, which is industry relevant, employability oriented courses. All of them coming onto academic bank of credits is empowering students to move from one place to the other place, carry these credits or make use of them in their own university curricula. All of this thing is already happening. Similarly, the Skill Ministry has its own portal of digital skills which are imparted, and through the digital skill hub, students are able to take employability related courses. So on one side, empowering all of this is happening. And I remember what Madan was speaking, that every individual has some potential. And famous saying of Swami Vivekananda is, every human being has a potential, or he has already perfection in him or her. We have to only bring it out. And that role can only be done by the teachers. And the teachers are the ones who in the classroom should find out whose aptitude is in what direction, what is the capacity that a student has, how do we build that capacity, how do we hone those skills, and that is a big role that teachers have to play. And therefore, ministry amalgamated what are known as HRDC centers and Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya centers which were existing into new terminology called Malviya Mission Teacher Training Centers, and training of teachers in all the fields, including how do you implement national education policy, understanding of it in greater detail, to continuous faculty development has been already happening. What is still lacking is the quality of the content that has come on both MOOC as well as in these teacher training programs is still having sort of classrooms which we enjoy today in the regular universities and colleges, which is one-way traffic, and therefore how do we make them very interactive? That's what is required in the order of the day, because students' attention span is small, same is that of the elders, and therefore teachers have to be trained in a manner that they use all modern technologies, emerging technologies like augmented reality, virtual reality, metaverse and digital twins into the curriculum, and then make the content exciting. Thereby students are gravitated towards classes, not because of the 70% or 75% attendance rule, but because every class they are going to learn something new, and that is what we need to do. And for that, one more initiative is ongoing. Very soon it will be launched, called Guru Setu program. Guru Setu is going to be very interesting content provided for teachers, thereby their capability, their capacity will improve further. This is another area of improvement that is going to happen. As far as innovation is concerned, we are all aware of AICTE's various initiatives, be it in terms of setting up of idea labs or innovation centers in all the colleges and universities, giving challenging problems through Smart India Hackathon, making them solve. So what was missing and what is brought in the last 10 years is opportunities never existed for tier 2, tier 3 places which are being provided through variety of means. And they are showing the results in terms of not only growing our economy from 10th largest, 11th largest to 4th largest economy on one side, number of startups increased, as I said. As far as global innovation is concerned, from global innovation index of 81st position, we have come to 38th position. These results show very clearly the pathway which we have adopted is showing results. But by 2047, what are we required to achieve? One is the terminology often used is the last man has to be taken care of. Maybe in the remote Nagaland, Jammu Kashmir, Jharkhand or Chhattisgarh should feel as empowered as someone in Delhi or Mumbai or Hyderabad. That is the spirit. And that is what term used is Antyodaya. So if you have to do that, all facilities which are existing in the urban areas must be also provided in the rural areas, whether it is in terms of housing, water, potable water supply, sanitation, to providing electricity as well as internet. Internet is a leveling. Many of you talked about AI. If AI has to penetrate and they have to be made use of at all the places, I think penetration of 4G, 5G connectivity to all the places is important. As I said, 70% is covered, remaining 30% is a work in progress. I'm sure in another couple of years, we will be proud to say that in the whole world, if there is one country where penetration of network is there to the nooks and corners, it would be Bharat. That is the spirit. And that, along with that, if there is a data cost which is the cheapest in the world, again it is Bharat. You go to African countries, it's so expensive, the students are not able to access internet because of the cost that is involved. The last part is digital devices. They are also coming down in prices thanks to AI mission, thanks to semiconductor mission, thanks to quantum mission. I think we are developing our own chips, our own design, and manufacturing will begin, and therefore at very affordable cost, these devices also would be available very soon. But till then, at least our industry friends who are here, they must contribute through their CSR funding to those who cannot access. They should be provided that access, and that is your duty. And if you are able to do that, I'm sure our true spirit of access and equity, equitability, which is mentioned in the National Education Policy, will become a reality. And we'll have to work together. And that's why a platform like this, Digii100, who have brought in both industry people, vice chancellors and chairmen of various societies and trusts who are running the educational institution. It is our combined effort that only will make our country truly Viksit Bharat by 2047. And that's why our Honorable Prime Minister's very famous statement, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, but Sabka Prayas is also equally important. That prayas has to come from all of you people who are sitting in this audience today. As far as the other initiatives are concerned, Ministry is constantly engaged in creating what is called as one side infrastructure, support system, and then moving forward. But I would like to still mention one very important initiative started 25 years back called National Innovation Foundation. Many of you may be knowing, some of you may not be knowing. So people who had no education, school dropouts, or those who never went to school, if they are also innovative, and we used to use a terminology called Jugaad for some time, and that has come in the Oxford Dictionary as well. That set of people who, without education, were able to create innovative products. Some of them were converted into what we call as patents, and then finally created companies. I'm very proud to say that out of 1,500 patents filed, 750 plus patents are granted to those who did not have education. If that is the case with those people, those who have got education, we are all empowered through education, which is a very important thing. We mentioned about sustainability and sustainable development goals in a way. All 17 sustainable development goals are linked, connected with SDG 4, which is education. And therefore, whether it is overcoming hunger, agriculture, poverty, all of that is directly or indirectly related with education. And that's why if we have to really empower our entire citizenry, all 140 plus crore people to be empowered, education is the means. So those who do not have access today in the formal education system, we must at least provide skills, we have to at least provide education through their own mother tongue, and that's why we have also created several models of translation of content in English into all our Indian languages through Anuvadini, which is useful for creating textbooks, skill books into all these languages. Same is the case with medical and law books as well. If that is the power that we have in terms of technology, we must make use of it most effectively, efficiently, in order to create Viksit Bharat by 2047. I think, Hemant, I'm thankful to you for bringing people of all variety on one single platform, where I'm unfortunately having another meeting. Otherwise, I would have been loving to be here amongst you, understanding what are your challenges, what are your suggestions to take them forward. But at least you must provide me with the inputs which we have received in the different seminars, groups which are going to be formed today, and then we will take it forward and then continue. I'm happy that our spirit, which is very important in Bharatiya civilization, that is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. We want the whole world to be happy. The world is one family. This spirit we will take forward in 2047 and make this world a planet, a very useful, lively, happy, and coordinated, collaborated space for everyone to live happily. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Jai Hind.